Sing through me, muse, of those men who haunt the hallowed halls of history. Hey, alliteration. The Argonautica is an epic poem written in the 3rd century BC by Apollonius Rhodius. And yeah, I said BC, what of it? It was written in Alexandria, capital of the Hellenic Empire, the conquest of the world's greatest warrior king. As the title suggests, the Argonautica is about the legend of Jason and the Argonauts, a hero who set out to find the golden fleece and marry the beautiful princess. It starts out with a prophecy, as these things tend to do, with King Peleus hearing of his doom from a man with one sandal. Sure enough, Jason comes wandering into town wearing only one. He orders the young hero off to adventure to retrieve the fabled golden fleece from on far and bring it back to him, sure to be killed along the way. To do so, he gets a huge ship built and puts out the call for a multitude of heroes, including Orpheus, Peleus, Argus, and above all, Hercules. Yeah, the big man himself comes on this voyage. They set off and make landfall in many different places, having little episodic adventures with an island populated only with women, seeing a man beset by monsters, sea nymphs, boxing matches, until finally they arrive at their destination. There, Jason is guided by Cupid's arrow to fall in love with the princess of the island, Medea, who guides him in 3 challenges necessary for winning the Golden Fleece. First, he must saddle fire-breathing oxen to plow a field of dragon's teeth, and once they are sowed, the teeth burst into an army of soldiers hungry for his blood. Using Medea's magic spells, he overcomes these challenges, wins the fleece, and heads back home with more than just wool as prize. Medea's father and brother set out after them, and they too are defeated by Jason's sword. And some stuff happens, and eventually they make it home. It really starts to drag towards the end. This book is pretty good, but to really understand it, we must reach back in time, past the conquests of Alexander, past the Persian invaders, past Socrates, Plato, and the glory of Athens, back to when Homer was wandering the earth, singing of Achilles and Odysseus. The real starting place for this is, well, the beginning of Western literature. The ancient epics of Homer, which have been ripped off for the past 2,500 years and keep getting worse every time. You can't beat the originals, 2 of the greatest stories ever told. Oh, what the hell! They are the greatest stories ever told! Well, next to the Arabian Nights. According to legend, even Alexander used to charge into battle with a copy of the Iliad in his pocket. He wouldn't be caught dead without it. Every action movie, every rugged hero, every wise old man, and almost every conqueror owes their existence to this book. The same with the Odyssey. Every man who lost his way home, every patient wife, and every Cyclops wouldn't be roaming the earth without them. But maybe they were a little too good. By the time of Apollonius, epics were going out of fashion. They were giving rise to more lyrical poetry, describing thoughts and emotions, and sometimes even just the appreciation of what was around them. It was a gay time. A Greek time, undoubtedly. Apollonius wanted to recapture that epic sensibility, trying to fashion a poem that was similar to Homer, but modern enough for his contemporary readers. There are scenes where the heroes gather and he lists all their names and all the lineages that they belong to. A very similar scene happened in the Iliad, but he practically invented the inner monologue wherein the heroes describe their thoughts and feelings to themselves. Hell, the comic books owe their existence to this. This was more representative of contemporary Alexandria. It should be noted there were elements of it in Homer's poems, but he developed the romance between Jason and Medea, fleshing out both their characters and making them fall in love in a realistic and believable-ish way. But I thought all the Greeks were supposed to be gay with each other, so I don't know. However, Virgil would use this as the inspiration for his love scenes in his own Roman epic, the Aeneid. They don't call it romance for nothing. It was also repeated in Ovid's Metamorphoses, and there was another asshole who wrote a book with the same title. No, I didn't read it. But one of the big things about this book is that it retold a story that was well known at the time. The basic story of Jason and the Argonauts was already there. Hell, it predates the Trojan War. The thing is that he took what was a simple, almost childlike story and fleshed it out with psychological depth, symbolism, characters, and maturity. It's kind of like how Christopher Nolan's Batman films took children's comic book characters and elevated them to new heights of adult drama and tragedy. Or at least the first 2 did. Yeah, Frank Miller did it in his comics first, whatever. It was an epic of the new world, using the famed myth of the old as a foundation, and combining it with the sensibilities of the conquests of Alexander had brought. And I also think this may be true of the Iliad and Odyssey. They could be grown-up versions of classic Greek myths, for all we know. But this isn't about them. I had a hell of a time finding this book. There were no copies in the local library, the used bookstore didn't have any, and even Barnes & Noble was out of them. I finally found one in my university library, and the print was so small I could barely see it, but I made it through, damn it. I feel I deserve a cookie. Get me one. Part of this is because it's so damn obscure. Even the essay in the book I did find claimed that the translator could barely find a good copy. They didn't even teach it in his school. So I get to wondering, why does no one want to read it? Well, because it sucks. Yeah, there, I said it. It meanders through most of the plot, simply telling of cool, random things, rather than having any of them bear on the story at all. It gets old. Fast. It is mercifully short, though, being only some 6,000 lines of poetry in comparison to the Iliad's 16,000. And really, it can't compare to the Iliad and the Odyssey. They're the all-time classics. I was trying to think of a video to do with them, but what the hell can I say about them? Nothing. That's what. But even so, it's really an honor to be counted among their ranks. They're immortal stories that have stood the test of time, and so is this one. Remember I said that they're grown-up versions? Well, I think it's true. I think they evolved over time, with the lesser and uninteresting interpretations dying off and being lost to history. And the Argonautica did too. It's the only surviving story from its time, and the preeminent tale of Jason and his sailors. Yes, there's Euripides' Medea, but that doesn't count. It is a legend, both in mind and in flesh. When all else that surrounds us is dust, it will stand as a testament to what once was.